Howdy guys, Thomas Talbert here, and I'm here to talk about today what a good property manager looks like and what you're looking for in order to identify this good property manager. I went over this in another post that I did concerning what should your property manager be doing for you. But here are a few questions that when you're looking for property managers here in Austin, Texas, to be sure to ask them while you're sort of going through the interviewing process. One, what's the communication standard? Are they departmental, or is it it's either departmental or pod or portfolio style? Basically what that means in a portfolio style is that you have one person to contact. It is the only person that is like their job is to call you back. That is their number one job. And that's what you get in a portfolio style, because this one person is probably in charge of maybe 100 doors or something like that. And so there is a very high touch, that property manager is going to communicate with you because that is their sole job. And they only have 100 doors. So there's not that many things to be doing at any given time other than picking up the phone whenever the heck you call. There's other property managers that do a departmental style, basically, where there's several people that you can get in contact with, and then given a certain issue, they would, direct you to that person. For example, if it was a maintenance type of request, they'd send you to the maintenance person. If it was a leasing type of request, they'd send you to the leasing guy. But that breaks up the one person of contact thing. And that depends on what you like. A lot of times those departmental companies are a bit cheaper because they don't have to pay for the one person that is in charge of solely communicating with you 100% of the time. And other ones that probably offer better service, such as Prime Properties, no need to brag, but we have your property manager is your one point of contact, and their sole job is to get back to you as soon as possible and keep you happy. So how they manage communication is big, and ask about the structure of the company, because that's going to determine it quite a bit. Also, when you're looking at management companies, ask about their maintenance. Do they have a maintenance coordinator? What is that maintenance coordinator's background, and what is their system and process to dispatching somebody? Just because you have a maintenance coordinator doesn't mean you should coordinate maintenance every time. What I mean by that is, if the garbage disposal is broken, they should have a few steps or a few things to ask the tenant before they just send someone out there and run the credit card, if you will, while they're out at the property. They should be asking, okay, well, did you check the breaker? Did a lot of times in those old homes, the dishwasher and the garbage disposal are connected to a light switch. Did you make sure that's on? Did you unjam it? Is there glass or something in the garbage disposal? Here at Prime Properties, we actually have 35% of our work orders never actually become work orders because of basic troubleshooting like that. So are they going to troubleshoot, or are they just going to send someone out there and swipe the credit card and have you pay for it in the end? A good property manager will have some troubleshooting questions to ask a tenant and hopefully be able to save you some money by not dispatching anybody. To stack on top of that, a lot of that has to do with screening the tenants. The tenants are putting in the work orders, and they're setting expectations of what these tenants should expect in a rental property. And the screening of the tenant to make sure that they're a good tenant is sort of stacks on top of the maintenance, funnily enough. When we're screening the tenant, make sure everyone is going to be running a credit check, looking at their income, proving income. Everyone's going to do that, and that's they'll prove it on paper. But are they going to take that extra step and make phone calls? That is where, funnily enough, we actually get find a lot of tenants, if you will, making a mistake, is because they will put up fake documents, but then we'll call the office that they claim to be working at, or we will call their current landlord or their prior landlord and ask about them, and they'll go, I have no idea what you're talking about. Or they'll say, nope, this tenant was a horrible tenant. We're actually in the middle of eviction. It happens about once a month for us. So now, not only proving it on paper, but calling references, and not their mothers. You need to be calling bosses, and you need to be calling prior landlords to confirm all that. And also be sure to be asking your property manager what market they specialize in. For example, we specialize in Austin. I don't go to Houston. I don't go to Dallas. I don't go to San Antonio. I work Austin, and that's the market I know and love, and that is what I live and breathe. Make sure you're working with someone who's local and knows the market well. That doesn't mean someone who's from Houston doesn't have a good market here in Austin. That's not what I'm talking about. Be sure that this isn't a company that is super cheap and they don't have any boots on the ground here in Austin. That is where you're going to fall short when picking a property manager, is if you don't pick a property manager that has boots on the ground and it has been working in Austin for years. It takes a long time to get that market expertise. Don't pick someone who just started, or don't pick someone they're so cheap because they are a private equity backed company that's trying to get as many doors under management as possible and charging you a 4% management fee. There's a reason that's 4%. There is no one that's going to physically come by and touch the property, and they don't know the market. All they're doing is collecting rent for 4%. And that is what you need to be looking out for when looking for a property manager. If you have any further questions, please feel free to reach out. This is Thomas Talbert with Prime Properties. Thanks for your business.